Well, good morning, everyone. Hope you had a great weekend. Hope you had fun making those upcycled prints. I know I did. If you looked at all the materials and your project requirements, one of the other things that you should look at is an example of a student collage. And here I made that. I wrote and read some things that students did quite well. And then I also put in blue things that need improvement. One of the things that I said that needed improvement was parts of a landscape. Obviously, you want big flowers in the front and little tiny flowers in the back. You want to show that depth and perspective, things up close, things far away. The other thing that they needed improvement on is not to make the whole collage 2D flat. It's great to have some things flat, but why not have things popping off the page that would add interest to your artwork? So I'm going to show you how to do that 3D kind of effect. So more than likely you're starting with a plain white piece of paper, or maybe you have a colored piece of paper. It's up to you. And then you want to start creating your flowers. So one of the things that you might consider first is making a stem for the flower. A lot of kids reach for green construction paper. That's fine. Some of you will cut a straight rectangle for a stem, right? And depending on where the flower is on the paper, far away, you're going to make it smaller. Closer up, you're going to make it bigger. And you can certainly do that. One of the other things that you can do for a technique is you could actually rip the paper. If I use a ruler and I tear the paper by holding the ruler paper down, now I have a straight line too. But if you think about flowers, not all flowers stems are exactly straight. Some kind of have a wave to them, and other flowers really have a droop to them, like a tulip. They could actually flop down. So kind of keep that in mind. So if I want to make a flopping stem, I could just put that on an angle, or I can curve it, and that would make a great flopping stem. So just things to think about. Not everything has to be straight. Now, what happens if you want to have one of these stems popping off the page? Well, you could certainly take it between your two fingers and you could just curve these lines and look at, now it's popping off the page, and your flower could actually be up here off the page coming at you, making it 3D. One of the other things you might want to do is maybe you want to make this piece of construction paper almost into a vine, have a curl to it. That's great for your regular pencil. All you would do is wrap that around the pencil like so, nice and tight. If you want it to be a tight vine, looser if you want it to be a looser vine. So it's just the amount of pressure that you put on it. Oops, not cooperating with me today. It's also kind of long. Probably make it a little shorter. But now I have like a curl to it, and I can glue it down on one side of the paper and glue it down on the other. And that could be 3D. So that's some ideas for stems. Obviously, the ideas are endless, right? Creativity. You want yours to look different than somebody else's. So now let's say I want to make a leaf. So when I make a leaf, kids usually probably do like a pointy kind of an oval, and that's fine. Some leaves look like that. And again, if you just glued it flat, that's fine too. But maybe you want it to be three-dimensional coming off the page. There's a few things that you could do for that. You can actually fold the leaf in half, put a little crease in it, and then glue it down, automatically coming off the page, isn't it? You can also make a little, what I call a foot or a tab. That's just by bending it back, a little piece, and putting some glue on the bottom, and then it's coming off the page. You can even add some interest inside the leaf by doing a little cut on the fold line, and that creates that center vein. So look at that. Now you added some interest. If you want to even put more veins in the leaf, right? You just come in and out with your scissor out of that center line. And now you've added some veins to the leaf. So again, nice positive space versus negative space too. So some different ways to do leaves. And obviously leaves come in all shapes and sizes. So definitely go to Google Images, look up a variety of flowers, a variety of leaves. So now let's get to the flower itself. Hopefully you had fun making those upcycled prints. I know I did. So you could actually use one of these to make the leaves, or petals rather, of your flower. So I want to make lots of petals at the same time. I could take my paper, I could fold it several times, and then using my scissors, notice a collage, I'm not doing any drawing so far. I could just create that nice petal shape. And again, flowers come in all different shapes and sizes for petals, so have fun with that, right? So I folded it 4 times, so I should have 4 petals. 1, 2, 3, 4. And there are my 4 petals. And again, I can arrange them anywhere I want. Bigger flowers should be in front, smaller flowers towards the top of the paper in the back. I can make these 3-dimensional too. I can put that little tab and glue it. I could fold it like we said. I could bend it and curl it, and then I can make my petals coming off the page. You can even incorporate 2 of your upcycled prints into 1 flower. Again, this would be flat, but I can bend it and make things coming up off the page, which I think is a little more interesting. So different ways to do petals. You can even use magazines, wrapping paper, magazines, just like I showed you in the example. Even a food box. I love this with the Barilla logo. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Barilla logos that I could cut out. They look like a petal shape already because they're an oval, and I could use them for flowers, or just even the rest of the box. So what about the middle of the flower? You could cut a circle like the examples had, or you could have fun with it. I have a carton at home, right? So instead of just throwing it away, I cut one of these out, and I can put it like that. That could be the middle of the flower, or I could flip it over and that could be the middle of the flower. That's kind of neat, something different. What about some toilet paper rolls that you have around, lying around at home, right? I could trim this, and I can make it a lot shorter if I want. And I can somehow make this the middle of the flower. I can take this, and I think I showed you in my printing video, pretty sure I did this, where I cut all the edges into slits, and I can bend all of these down, which would be pretty neat. So take this, flip them down. That could be the middle of a flower. That could be a flower itself. There's lots of things that you can do. My paper is only a 9 by 12 inch piece of paper. It's kind of small. I like to work real big. So if you have a big piece of paper at home, do it. Or if you have pieces of your sketchbook paper and you want to tape them together on one side and then flip it over on the nice side to make your collage, you can certainly do that. But there's endless possibilities. Be creative, make things 3-dimensional, use all different types of paper. I think it'll look great. Have fun.